This is the Morning Hookup on KFOR.
Be a friend of mine. Well, I keep on thinking about you, sister golden hair surprise.
Good morning, Lincoln, Nebraska. It's Elijah Herbal doing his best Bill Hooks impression. Bill Hooks off today and tomorrow. I'm joined here in the studio by YZ, and we have so much to talk about. First off, great song choice, Caleb, in there. Really respect that. Sister Golden Hair, America.
Yes.
Great song. I know our good friend Thew, who is in on Fridays in our stream chat, tells me that's a song Thew would appreciate as well. Plenty to get into here today. We'll have Evan Bland joining us in hour 2 of the show to talk Nebraska, Houston Christian. Well, let's be honest, it's going to be more Nebraska, Michigan. That's what Saturday was. It was that, all right, you're through it. Now on to Michigan. We'll get to that in just a second. We'll also get some reaction to the NFL. How about Omaha alum Xavier Watts? I mean, you could say game sealing. I think the game was kind of...
It was pretty much wrapped up.
It was pretty much wrapped up, but he gets an interception last night, the first of his career for the Atlanta Falcons. They've been really impressed with him, so we'll get into some NFL reactions from the weekend, including my Broncos.
I can give you a little bit of grace on that one, though. That was kind of...
Come on, man.
The ending of that game.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
On one hand, by rulebook definition, is that probably technically a penalty? Yeah.
Yeah, you can't touch the center. But
have the Broncos been doing that on every field goal attempt so far this year and not getting called for it? Did the Colts do it earlier in the fourth quarter? Yes and yes. So it's not the fact. Sure, it's a penalty. It's the fact that the NFL refs don't call it until the final kick of the game, and then
but there is,
you know what you've been doing all game? That's a penalty now here in the last play of the game, 15 yards.
There is a little bit of a question though about that game. Are the Colts good?
The question needs to be asked. Their offense was a lot more impressive than I thought it would be. And Shane Steichen, to his credit, has only dealt with terrible quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
You give him Daniel Jones, who is passable. Is Daniel Jones on his Sam Darnold redemption arc?
He might be. He looks poised in the pocket. He's finding guys like
he's got a good running game that can take some pressure off of him with Jonathan Taylor, who had like 225 all-purpose yards yesterday or something stupid like that.
My thing with him was, well, the Colts in general, like I think the Dolphins are awful. Well, I don't think. I know that the Dolphins are awful.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, cool. You beat up on the Dolphins week 1. Now you have to play the Broncos, one of the best defenses in the entire league. I'll believe it when I see it. And they come out and beat Denver at home.
They're 2-0. I might be I won't say I'm a believer. I am my eyebrows are raised and I am okay.
It's still very early, but yeah, they definitely...
I'm not going to make a sweeping observation or a sweeping conclusion after 2 games, but I will make an observation and say, you know what? That team might surprise some folks here. We'll get into more NFL thoughts as soon as you start talking about my Broncos. We're going to go off on a tangent, but where I want to start things off here, how about Bud Crawford?
Man.
Legacy ceiling Saturday night. A dominant win over Canelo. The scorecards might not be dominant. Anyone who has 2 eyes and a brain who watched that thought that was a dominant Bud Crawford performance.
Yeah.
He just absolutely
took the words right out of my mouth.
He absolutely, I shouldn't say walked down Canelo, but controlled the fight.
Mm-hmm.
From probably the end of the first round, they were feeling each other out. There was a couple rounds in there, probably the 5th and the 10th. I went, okay, Canelo had good rounds there. I could have the argument, but they were somewhat close rounds, but Bud was in control of that fight the whole way through.
Mm-hmm.
He had Canelo's game plan sniffed out. His defense was on point. He landed the bigger shots, landed more shots, and rightfully got his hand raised. And now the question becomes, well, A, will Bud Crawford fight in Memorial Stadium?
That'd be insane.
Do you have one more fight? Or hey, he looks so good. We're talking about his age as a factor. He did not look like the older fighter in that fight.
No.
He looked like the fighter that was still in his prime. Canelo looked like the fighter that was past his prime. And to be fair, Bud Crawford, over his last 10, 15 fights, has done that to a lot of fighters. He has made them look washed. That's how good Bud Crawford is. There is no one right now in professional boxing, in my eyes, that holds a candle to what he has in boxing ability. He is special. I said it yesterday on the Sunday Live version of the Average Joe Sports Show. I encourage you to check that one out on YouTube. To me, when you look at American boxing royalty right now, Muhammad Ali's at the top. Muhammad Ali, there's self-promotion in there, but he was great. That the rivalry with Joe Frazier really like took him to the top. But it goes Ali and then Bud Crawford to me. And Canelo said it himself after the fight. He was asked, you fought them both. Who's better? Floyd Mayweather, Bud Crawford? And he said Bud Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather was.
Mm-hmm.
I can't find for the life of me an American boxer that has the resume and the dominance that Bud Crawford has had over the sport for as long as he has. To me, Bud Crawford is it's him and Ali are the American boxing royalty. And I'm glad we can appreciate him while he's still fighting here. That's why I think he needs a fight in Memorial Stadium in front of 90,000. But appreciate Bud Crawford while you have him. I tweeted out this weekend. To me, we are watching the best athlete the state of Nebraska has ever produced. That's where I'm at.
I don't think that's a crazy take. There's probably maybe
what other athlete? There's been some special athletes. Bob Gibson, Gale Sayers, Jordan Larson. Like there's been some special athletes. To me, that's my Mount Rushmore. It's Bud Crawford, Jordan Larson, Bob Gibson, Gale Sayers. That's the Mount Rushmore of Nebraska athletes. Jordan Larson's the one you could make an argument is the best in her sport, which is indoor volleyball. Bud Crawford, make an argument best in his sport, boxing. Like I'm talking all time here. It's those two. I mean, you can make Bob Gibson was the best of his era as a pitcher. Gale Sayers was fantastic. But to me, it's Bud Crawford. Is there maybe a little recency bias? Maybe. I don't think I'm going to look back in 10 years and have a different opinion, though.
I don't think it's crazy. Does that make him 42-0 or 43-0 again after the fight against Canelo?
42-0, I believe.
Either way, he has 40+ wins, and like 30 of them are knockouts against some. And that's the thing about Crawford is everybody doubts all the opponents that he's gone, and he hasn't fought anybody. Blah, blah. Okay,
he makes them look bad. That's why you doubt them.
Exactly.
No one was doubting Errol Spence until Bud Crawford fought him.
Yeah, exactly. And then everybody was talking about, he hasn't fought at this weight before. He's going up weight classes. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. He's the pound for pound best fighter in the world.
Who else has in their career in boxing moved up 30+ pounds throughout the course of their career? And he was as dominant at 133 as he was at 168.
Mm-hmm.
He's incredible. I just, for the life of me, can't find anyone from the state of Nebraska who has done close to what he has done. The time, the length of time in which he's been dominant, how dominant he has been. He's pound for pound the best boxer in the world right now. He's been pound for pound the best boxer in the world for probably 10 years. And though the rest of America might not have seen it, I know Nebraska has seen it. Bud Crawford fans have seen it. And it's good to see him rightfully get his flowers for how dominant he has been over the sport of boxing.
Oh yeah, we've been proponents of it for many years, and I think but he still continues to keep being doubted. Is the thing? Everybody still is like, but he continues to prove people wrong, and that's what makes him one of the greatest.
I mean, I don't know what else there is to say about Bud Crawford.
Yeah.
I mean, you look, what Canelo was going into this fight was a fighter that, aside from really the Mayweather fight, like dominant over his division, just dominant.
Mm-hmm.
The knockout power that he possessed, the speed that he possessed. There's a reason he's probably the most popular fighter in America, in the world right now. His name appeal is up there. I think he leaves that fight on Saturday night making more money than Bud Crawford does. I don't have a problem with that because he's got the name appeal. Mm-hmm. Bud might be frustrated with that. Bud's a better fighter, sure. Canelo's the one that sells tickets for you. He's the one that makes that. We'll see what Netflix ends up reporting in terms of their viewership, but they were expecting that to be one of the most viewed boxing matches ever. We'll see if they actually did that or not, but Canelo's the reason for that. Like, Bud Crawford versus Errol Spence was great. Canelo is what makes that the fight that it was. So I don't have a problem with that. But the one punch knockout power that he possesses, the fan base that he brings with him, like Canelo was a special fighter going into that fight, and Bud made him look not special.
Ryan840 brings up a good point in the YouTube chat. He says, "Do you guys see the story of Bud's mom telling neighborhood kids to come fight him for $10, and none of them could beat him?" This guy also got shot while he was in his car, and it grazed his head, and he drove himself to the hospital. And you thought he was losing? Come on, man. This guy is a different breed.
I love that story from Bud's mom. It should be noted. This is not parenting advice. It's actually bad parenting in my eyes.
Yes.
So Bud's dad had told her, like, whenever he was young and starting up boxing, he's going to be a world champion someday. And Bud's mom went to Bud and said, "You ain't going to be,
you know what?
Yeah, you won't be that. You won't be all that." Well, that's the self-censorship. And to prove it, yeah, she went and offered all the neighborhood kids to, "Hey, you can go jump Bud, and I'll give you $10 if you beat him up." No one ever beat him up. That is horrible parenting.
It's awful.
Terrible parenting. I wouldn't say 9 times. 99 times out of 100, your kid's gonna hate you.
Yeah.
They're not gonna turn into Bud Crawford. I shouldn't say 999 out of 1,000 times. It's not gonna turn into Bud Crawford. So if you're out there with a young kid at home that wants to be a boxer, don't offer the neighborhood kids $10 to go beat up your kid. That is horrible advice. But in this case, what Bud said is it filled him with a rage. Again,
And that's like the only
not what you want from a parenting situation. Filled him with a rage, but that
only
rage what fueled him.
the only positive out of it is like what it made him and made him who he is today. But it also could have gone very poorly. Hilarious story, but awful as well.
Awful, but yeah, you're right. It turned Bud Crawford into what he is today. That's a cold-blooded killer. So good to see Bud Crawford getting his flowers. Again, I'll say it one more time. If anyone that is a decision maker with the University of Nebraska is listening, I know Bud Crawford wants to fight at Memorial Stadium. We'll see. Does he want to keep on fighting? Something tells me, with as dominant as he was against Canelo, he's got a few more fights left in the tank. I was wondering going into this, is this going to be the fight? If he goes out on a win, does he end it? I mean, he was so dominant. What's the point of stopping?
That would sell out every seat.
Yeah.
And then on ground level, you could create more seating. There would be a lot more than 90,000 in there.
The one thing to me that I wonder if they're going to want to the volleyball match in Memorial Stadium is currently the attendance record at Memorial Stadium. I think they want that record to be with the volleyball team with good reason.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So I think you'd want to be careful about breaking that attendance record. But then again, volleyball team deserves the attendance record. So does Bud Crawford.
He deserves something. Omaha needs to throw like a celebration for him or something, or some way to commemorate his legacy. You got a hair on your
hair stuck on my hat. Sorry. But put Bud Crawford in the biggest stadium in Nebraska. Let all the Nebraskans come out and show their support for Bud Crawford. Because my thing is, people are saying, "Oh, well, he wouldn't want to risk his record." Based on what I saw against Canelo, there isn't a fighter between 140 and 170 pounds that holds a candle to Bud Crawford. Whoever it is, I'm taking Bud. Especially in front of the home crowd, in front of 100,000 people, Bud ain't losing. Now, it all comes down to Bud. Does Bud want to go out on top? Does he want to go out with that 42-0 record after beating Canelo Alvarez, who many thought to be the greatest of his era? Maybe. But if I know anything about Bud, and I've followed Bud since I was in middle school, early on, I went down to PBA and I watched his fight against Gamboa. Like, fantastic. Okay. If I know anything about Bud in my decade plus of following him, I don't think Bud's done yet.
Probably not.
Because I think Bud knows he's the best out there and he's going to keep on proving it. It's not about the money. I don't think it's about the legacy. I think it's Bud likes kicking ass. And I think Bud will keep on doing that until he looks at it and says, "You know what? Okay, the age is starting to catch up with me." But what I saw is that the age is not catching up with him. So
I agree.
That's what I'll see. If Bud is fighting in Memorial Stadium at some point in time, I'd circle next, like May or June would probably be the time frame. Get him some time off. Let him enjoy his win a little bit. Get him back into training camp. You know, the weather in Nebraska will probably be nice in May or June. Get that outdoor fight at Memorial Stadium. I'm circling May or June as the timetable. I have no inside information here. That's just what I'm circling. My butt will be in a seat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't care how much a ticket costs. I'm there.
I will be there, and I think a lot of Nebraska will as well.
Yep.
So congratulations are in order to Bud Crawford. That was an incredible performance on Saturday. I went back and watched rounds 8 through 12, and it was a different experience watching the fight, not being nervous. For 12 rounds on Saturday night, I was nervous because Max Kellerman was saying the whole time, "Man, if Canelo catches him once, it can change the whole fight."
The whole fight.
And when you're sitting there watching live, you're nervous. As you go back and rewatch, Bud did not respect the power of Canelo Alvarez. And he said it after the fight himself. He said, "Canelo was not the hardest puncher I've ever faced." Now, Bud Crawford also never fought anybody while he himself weighed 168 pounds, so that changes things as well.
Yeah.
Heavier you get, the better your chin gets usually. But he said wasn't the hardest puncher. And as you go back and watch, you see it. Bud stops respecting that power early on. It's like second or third round. Canelo catches him with a couple, and Bud just go, oh. Yeah, you can kind of see it with his reaction, how he starts throwing punches. He realizes, oh, Canelo's not going to knock me out. And from that point on, upon a rewatch, I went, oh, there's no nervousness here. There shouldn't have been nervousness. Bud was in his zone. Bud was feeling nice.
When he's zoned in, oh yeah, you could just tell, you could feel it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And he was in his zone. He was in his element. The whole world got to experience what Bud Crawford is. I am glad for that. Now let's let him fight in front of Memorial Stadium, the home crowd. Bud can do whatever he wants at this point in time, and I'm not worried about Bud losing. So congratulations, Bud Crawford. We're going to take our first break of this show here. We got plenty to get into with Husker football. Michigan's coming up on Saturday. Oh boy, it's going to be one of those weeks where I'm counting down the hours, not even the days. I'm counting down the hours until 2:30 on Saturday. Husker Nation is as well. I was talking to some folks on Saturday. Houston Christian was all right, but even before the game, people were saying, man, what are you guys doing next weekend? The pre-gaming has already begun for Nebraska, Michigan. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the NFL weekend that was. Monday night doubleheader coming your way tonight. We also have Evan Bland coming your way in hour 2. So we're going to take our first break. We'll be back to talk some Husker football, Nebraska, Houston Christian, Nebraska, Michigan. That's coming your way after the break right here on the Morning Hookup. Did you watch all of Sunday Night Football last night?
Yes, unfortunately.
After there's a JJ McCarthy pick to start off the third quarter, I think it was. That's when I stopped watching. I was already in a Denver Broncos depression. So I wasn't feeling great. And I was watching the first half. I just was not in the mood to watch football after what happened to the Broncos. So I ended up going to bed.
I get it.
Well, I showered. By the time I made it off to bed, it was probably like midway through the fourth. But
McCarthy's not ready. He's not an NFL quarterback yet.
I was wondering if maybe the first half against the Bears was the fluky half. No, it was the fourth quarter against the Bears was the fluky part, and the Bears also saw what the Lions did to them.
They're bad football team.
Yeah,
bad football team.
Yeah, their defense is bad, and Caleb Williams just looks like a shell of what he was as a college quarterback. That he's got no confidence.
He plays so weird. Like, okay, what he did at USC works, like running around and scrambling for your life. That's a college quarterback sort of thing. But it's like now he has time in the pocket and he'll create like a completely different pocket.
It's kind of Russell Wilson-esque.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard people say that sacks are not an offensive line statistic? They're a quarterback statistic.
Yep.
I don't think that is a hard and fast rule. You have like Joe Burrow with the Bengals. Those sacks are an offensive line stat. His offensive line is bad and he gets killed. So like those for the most part aren't his fault. But you watch like Caleb Williams or Russell Wilson or some of those guys that seemingly have bad pocket presence, you go, oh, no, I see what people mean whenever they say sacks are quarterback statistic. Caleb Williams bails out of clean pockets and runs into guys that sack him. I also say that as a former offensive lineman. I heard that song.
Just an all-time classic.
When I'm away, so let's go there. Let's make our escape. Come on, let's
Welcome back into the morning hookup, taking you through your Monday morning. Elijah Herbal and YZ in today for Hooksy. Hooksy will be back with us on Wednesday morning, so looking forward to have him back. While the cat is away, we might as well play, though. We have plenty to talk about here on a Monday. That was a goofy one. I saw it in YZ's eyes as soon as I said it. Oh.
I've just never heard that one
I appreciate the half-hearted laugh. I do appreciate that. I'd like to think someone out there is driving around in their car and they gave a half-hearted laugh to that as well, as opposed to changing the station. So thank you to everyone out there listening. Thank you to everyone in the stream. Ryan840, he's been in the stream with us. Kobe and Thew. So appreciate those guys. As a reminder, you can always check out the Morning Hookup live on YouTube to see our beautiful faces and also get some behind the scenes access during our commercial breaks where we stay live on the stream. So appreciate everyone hanging out in there. Again, search up the Morning Hookup on YouTube and you can find our live stream.
Or Facebook if that's your thing.
Oh yeah, Facebook,
Or
KFOR Radio.
Yep. There you go.
So you can find us on the KFOR social media channels as well. Plenty of places for you to find us online. If that's not you, if you're driving around to the city of Lincoln on your Monday morning and you can't watch us in video, we also appreciate you tuning in on the air. That is FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, where you find the Morning Hookup every single weekday from 9 to 11. And Caleb, we led off the show briefly with this. It was another dominant win for Nebraska against Houston Christian. As expected, the all-red uniforms, they grew on me a little bit. I know some people out there really liked them. I didn't hear any like, some jerseys are love them or hate them. You know, I think that's how the all-whites are. I am personally the all-whites, the surrender whites. I love it. I love it whenever Nebraska wears white on white. Red on red doesn't quite do it for me, but it's not a hate thing. It's just I'm all right with them. If the players like them, cool. I know there's fans out there that really like them. They grew on me just a little bit throughout the game. That being said, I still like the traditional Nebraska look. At the end of the day, doesn't matter. No, Nebraska gets a huge win over Houston Christian. HCU, I believe, is what they would like to be called. Who knows if that'll stick or not. But it was a big win. The question that needs to be asked, do we learn anything from Nebraska's wins against Akron and Houston Christian that give you more confidence whenever Michigan comes to town on Saturday? I don't know.
Maybe a little bit.
Because when you look at the preseason questions, that's kind of where I go. Some have been answered, I think, but were any of those preseason questions answered against Akron and Houston Christian, or were they answered against Cincinnati, and then what you saw against Houston Christian and Akron did nothing to change your mind? One of those is the pass catchers. I think we came into this, it was hand in hand. The pass catchers and Dylan Raiola. Were the pass catchers good enough to allow Dylan Raiola to make a sophomore year jump? What I have seen through the first 3 games shows me Dylan Raiola has made strides through the offseason. He is a better quarterback. He doesn't put the ball in danger as much. You like the pocket presence. I think his internal timer is just a little bit better. Against the blitz, he still struggles just a little bit. And you saw that more against Cincinnati than against Akron and Houston Christian. Nebraska's offensive line did a great job the last 2 games, I should say, keeping Dylan Raiola clean, keeping that jersey from the grass stains, which I know they play on artificial turf, but it's a figure of speech. But the offensive line did a good job last 2 games. I thought against Cincinnati, whenever they brought pressure, Dylan Raiola did go get some happy feet. That is a common quarterbacking issue, though, especially at the college level. So I do believe, aside from that Dylan Raiola has made strides. His accuracy looks better. He's only had the 1 deep ball opportunity to Dane Key, which he underthrew, but it was into the wind. Is that a factor? I don't know. We all know Dylan Raiola's got a big arm, but TJ Lateef had the better deep ball on Saturday. I am not going to overreact to that because Dylan Raiola still had a completion to Dane Key and it still set up a touchdown. So I am not going to overreact to that. I do believe we have seen a sophomore year jump from Dylan Raiola, and I believe those pass catchers, not just as pass catchers, but also as perimeter blockers, they are much better than what Nebraska had last year. That is one of the questions that I think has been answered before the Michigan game. Another question we had, Nebraska's backup running backs. Do they have a guy that can take the load off of Emmett Johnson? That still remains unanswered to me.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Ives had a good game on Saturday. A lot of people were asking what's up with Mekhi Nelson. Why have we not seen him? Sounds like he was a little bit banged up through the course of last week, and they decided, well, you know what? We don't want to risk it. Like, wasn't banged up to the point where he couldn't play, but was banged up to the point of, well, we don't need him against Houston Christian. So that's why he wasn't on an injury report. That's what I heard with Mekhi Nelson. Just slightly banged up. It shouldn't be a long-term issue. That's why he's not on the injury report, but that's also why he's not playing. So Mekhi Nelson, though, I haven't seen enough through 3 games to think, man, that's a guy that can take the load off of Emmett Johnson. Mosey's usage, from what I've seen, is not that of a backup running back.
They very clearly want to get him the ball.
They want to get him the ball, but it's not between the tackles.
Correct. And
they use him kind of like I think Nebraska wanted to use Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yes.
Which Wan'Dale Robinson had to become between the tackles running back by necessity, which speaks to the last coaching staff. We won't get into that, but you used him between the tackles when I think you really wanted to use him more like a DeAnthony Thomas, which was line him up anywhere, whenever he's in the game. The defense can't go, well, we know exactly where he's going to be. Mosey can line up as a wide receiver. He can line up as a running back. They like to use him in that 2-back from the shotgun with him and Nelson, which kind of keeps the defense guessing just a little bit. But I haven't seen enough from him to think from a handoff run perspective, he can take the load off of Emmett Johnson. And Quentin Ives, though he looked good against HCU, he also didn't look great against Akron, and we didn't see him against Cincinnati. So that's a question that remains unanswered to me is, does Nebraska have a backup running back that if Nebraska needs to run the ball 30, 35 times against Michigan, is there anyone that can take those carries that isn't named Emmett Johnson? I don't know. That remains a doubt in my mind. Flip it around to the defensive side of the ball. The defensive line and the front 7, really, they had their best day, I think, despite the fact there was the long touchdown. They had their best day against Houston Christian on Saturday against who was actually a good running back. If you didn't do your research on HCU, you might have been surprised. But their running back, he had offers to likes of Oregon and Texas Tech and a number of Power 4 programs. Sounds like there were some issues through the recruiting process. That's why he ended up at HCU, but you saw the talent. To me, he looked like a guy that should be playing Power 4 level football. He was the best player on that Houston Christian team in Nebraska for the most part, did a good job with their defensive line in front 7, keeping him bottled up. But can I take away positives from Akron and Houston Christian and eliminate what I saw against Cincinnati? I don't know. The offensive lines of Akron and Houston Christian were not good. But in both games, the defensive line did look a lot more like a hell on wheels unit that was promised in fall camp. But I don't think it was enough for me to say that's not an issue. That's my concern going into Michigan. So that's still there. Same with the linebacker core. I thought their run fits and their speed. It didn't look like they were thinking as much the last 2 games, but you're also not playing as diverse of an offense as you're going to face in Cincinnati or against Michigan. So I didn't see enough to think my concerns are alleviated. Slightly more confidence based on how quick those guys were playing at the linebacker core, but I don't know. It still remains a question mark. And then in the back end of the defense, the defensive backs, we knew they were going to be good. They were better than I expected through 3 games.
That's a matchup coming up on Saturday that I think will be huge because the weapons Bryce Underwood has to throw to, sorry, I'm not concerned about them. That's Michigan's offense. That's not what is going to scare me. And so I think Nebraska's biggest thing is if first and second down, if they can stifle the run and make Bryce Underwood get to a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, be able to throw different looks at him. I trust every single one of our secondary pieces one-on-one with their receivers, and you got to be able to make Bryce Underwood's life hell. That's the matchup on Saturday. That's going to be huge for me.
Well, you have to make Michigan. Well, you have to make Bryce Underwood a pocket passing quarterback.
Exactly.
Justice Haynes, great running back. Great running back. Michigan's offensive line, they aren't what they were during the national championship years, but they're still very solid. Oklahoma kind of gave them some fits, and that's the best opponent they've had. That being said, we just talked about Nebraska's concerns with the defensive line. But that's the goal for Nebraska. And you can do that in a couple ways to turn Bryce Underwood into a pocket passing quarterback. First, your defensive line and your front 7 can bottle up the Michigan rushing attack and make Michigan say, all right, well, our best chance to beat Nebraska is to throw the football. But Michigan's going to walk into this game. They're going to see Nebraska's secondary. They're going to see Sierra Wright. They're going to see Andrew Marshall on film and say, our best bet to beat Nebraska is to be a ground and pound offense that gets probably 25 touches to Justice Haynes. We're going to get 10 to 15 carries for Bryce Underwood. We are going to ground and pound this Husker football team. With a freshman quarterback, I don't think you want to make him a pocket passer. So that's going to be Nebraska's goal. Is for the most part, Bryce Underwood needs to be a guy that beats you with his arm as opposed to his legs. And the Michigan offense needs to be a team that beats you with Bryce Underwood's arms as opposed to the rushing attack. So the defensive line is one way you can do it. Another way you can do it is with your offense. And that's kind of how I feel about Nebraska in this game. You always hear that the best offense is a good defense. I think I'm going to flip it around for this game and say the best defense for Nebraska is a good offense. If you can jump out by a couple of scores in the first half, Michigan feels the pressure a little bit. You're going to start throwing that ball around the yard.
You're going to have to.
You're going to have to. And for Nebraska's pass rushers, it doesn't come down to how many times can you get Bryce Underwood on the ground. It's can you keep him in the pocket. That's the goal for Nebraska's defensive line for me this week. It's not going to come down to can Nebraska's defensive line get 6 sacks. It's can Nebraska's defensive line keep Bryce Underwood in the pocket like they couldn't do with Sorsby and make him be a quarterback that beats you with his arm. If Nebraska can do that, if Nebraska's defense can turn Michigan into an offense where Bryce Underwood has to throw the ball 30 times from the pocket, Nebraska wins this football game. I think it's as simple as that to me because I look on the other side and I trust Dylan Raiola as a pocket passing quarterback a hell of a lot more than I trust Bryce Underwood as a pocket passing quarterback. That's the goal for Nebraska's defense here. If they can do that, I really like Nebraska's odds of winning this football game. That being said, Michigan, good defensive line, good running back, a quarterback that is a threat with his legs. They will get theirs, I think.
And you were talking about Akron and Houston Christian. It's like, how much can you really take away from those games? So I really have been trying to look more at the Cincinnati game. And it is a little bit, it is the first game of the season, and there's obviously not everything's going to be buttoned up. But, the rushing attack from Cincinnati, it wasn't as bad as people made it out to be. It was mainly Sorsby breaking out and having long runs, and that's one thing that we cannot have with Underwood because he's a better runner than Sorsby is. He will kill us with his legs.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. When you go back and look at the Cincinnati game, I brought this up the week after. It's still not great, but if you eliminate quarterback run and some of those kind of trick play runs where wide receivers end up getting the ball, so Houston was almost 8 yards per carry throughout their entire offense. If you eliminate Sorsby and if you eliminate the wide receivers, if it's just running back run, I think it was like 14 or 15 carries for just over 5 yards per carry. Is that good enough? No. Is it as bad as what it felt like whenever you were in the stadium on that Thursday night at Arrowhead?
Correct.
It's not as bad.
5+
yards per carry for Michigan. It's not great. But if they're between 5 and 6 yards, I think they're beatable. If they're doing what Cincinnati was doing and they're almost 8 yards per carry, they become a lot less beatable. So I'm with you on that. And that's why I think the key for Nebraska is to keep Bryce Underwood as a pocket passing quarterback. To flip it around, offensively, what does Nebraska need to do to beat Michigan? First off, they need to establish a run with Emmett Johnson. I don't think Emmett Johnson needs a 100-yard rushing day, but he needs a 100-yard all-purpose day. Needs that. Well, and I've said this before. For Cincinnati, it was 250 in the air and 150 on the ground. To me, was enough to beat Cincinnati. You were pretty much right around there. I think Dylan Raiola ended up with 240 plus yards, and I think Nebraska had like 140 something on the ground against Cincinnati. It was enough to win. For Michigan, I look at 300 and 100. 300 yards passing, 100 yards rushing. I think you can beat Michigan. People are going to want more rushing yards than that. I think Michigan's defense is much stingier than Cincinnati's was, and I think it's going to be a harder team to run the ball against.
Absolutely.
Their defense is great. The point total to me, if Nebraska gets to 28 points, I think they can beat this Michigan team. 30 is a more round number. That's a really tough ask against this Michigan defense, but I also think, based on what I've seen, this Husker offense could be better than what Michigan has faced even in Oklahoma. Oklahoma's got a great defense and a good enough offense. I think Nebraska right now is an offense-first football team. Despite how good the secondary has been, I still think it comes down to Nebraska's offense going out and winning this game against Michigan as opposed to Nebraska's defense going out and winning this game against Michigan. So I look at a Nebraska offense that puts up north of 28 points, and I feel good about their chances to go win.
I 100% agree that we are an offense-first team right now, at least. That could change over the course of the season, maybe. Probably not, but right now the offense is definitely the focal point of the team. And I think on Saturday, I think you need to come out and play as if you're an underdog, a bigger underdog than what you are. Don't come out here and play super passive and start throwing, let Raiola sling it. Let Raiola come out and throw the ball down the field. I don't want to see, lateral plays or horizontal plays towards the boundary, little bubble screens and short little screens. Get your guys out in space and let Raiola throw the ball to him. I think you said 300 yards passing. I need to see it vertically down the field. Also, I mean, a little bit of that could also be, getting Mosey the ball on like a little screen pass or something. It's all timely though. I don't want them to like first possession of the game, first play. Okay, run the ball down the middle. Don't get anything. Okay, bubble screen. Okay, now we're 3rd and 10. Now we're screwed. I think they need to come out and light it up from the very first play.
I'd agree with that. And the math nerds, the analytics nerds out there would tell you, this is a little thing, but I think it kind of represents how I feel. They would tell you that the odds are in your favor if you win the opening coin toss and you defer to the second half. Because of your possibility to go back-to-back scores, to control the ball at the end of the half, score whether it's field goal or touchdown, and then get the ball to kick off the second half and to go down and score again. That is a big swing in a football game, and it increases your odds of winning if you can go back-to-back scores. Any football team that can go back-to-back scores can win. The thing about deferring to the second half is it gives you that opportunity without ever seeing your defense on the field.
Those middle 8 minutes, if you get the ball 4 minutes to go in the first half, drive down the field, don't leave the other team any time to go down and score, then you get the ball and start the second half. Huge momentum swing.
The analytics nerds will tell you that is one of the bigger things you can do in a football game to win. That's why you see so many teams deferring nowadays. I think Nebraska's best bet to go out and win is to go, if you win the coin toss, which Nebraska, they're 0-for-3 so far this year. The odds will tell you they're due to go win the coin toss on Saturday. If you win that coin toss, I think you take the ball and go down and score.
Take the ball.
You go put your best unit out there, and you'll say, hey, we'll kick off the ball to Michigan in the second half. We'll give up that opportunity to go back-to-back scores without the defense ever being out there, to go punch Michigan in the mouth and get up 7-0 and make Michigan play from behind for the football game. Will the first possession of the football game win you a game? No, absolutely not, but it can set the tone. And if I'm looking for a tone setter, Nebraska's offense can set the tone in this football game on Saturday. That's where I'm at.
Punch him in the mouth and then have the crowd behind him. I mean, he's already played in a tough road environment already, but Bryce Underwood coming into Memorial Stadium, he's got to be shaking in his boots a little bit.
Oklahoma's loud. I'll say that. I've been to Oklahoma. I went down and saw that game in 2021. It's a loud stadium.
This game,
it ain't Memorial Stadium. I'll say that. It ain't Memorial Stadium with a top 25 team coming to town. It ain't Memorial Stadium whenever the fan base has been sitting around for 2 weeks going, I can't wait for Michigan to come to town.
Exactly.
Maybe even
game,
it's honestly been 6 months where folks have been like, well, if Nebraska gets past Cincinnati, I can't wait for Michigan to come to town. This Michigan game has been circled. Is it Colorado of last year?
That's what I was going to ask.
No, not quite.
That's what I was going to ask.
But I think there is going to be that little bit of it's not as blood in the water because everyone hates Colorado, but there is still going to be that juice. It doesn't need to be a primetime game. That's what some people say. Like, oh, Colorado is juiced up because everyone hates Colorado. It's a primetime game. People can drink all day, get themselves ready to go. They work themselves into a ladder. That's the beauty of a primetime game. Why primetime games are so loud is because the anticipation has been building all day. You show up downtown at 9 a.m., get yourself some breakfast, you hang out at your tailgate, you go see some friends, 2:30 rolls around, you're like, okay, man, I'm kind of ready for this game to start now. So by the time 7 o'clock rolls around, you're juiced up, you're ready to go. The anticipation is built. The difference with this game with Nebraska and Michigan is that the anticipation's been building for 2 weeks. By the time 9 a.m. rolls around on Saturday, I'm going to be sitting around going, man, I wish this game would kick off now. That's what creates loud stadiums, is anticipation when folks have been waiting, saying, I can't wait to get into that stadium. I can't wait to go yell. I can't wait for opening kickoff. You're going to have that on Saturday, despite the fact that it's 2:30. It's going to be a juiced up Memorial Stadium, especially considering the excitement around this football program right now.
This brings up another talking point. What a disgrace by College Game Day to decide to go to Miami versus Florida. Give me a break.
Well, and you look at the college football slate, that's one of the most uninteresting games to me.
There's 5 or 6 different games that they could have gone. I'm not even that mad that they didn't come to Nebraska. Obviously, that would have been amazing to have College Game Day, Nebraska, Michigan. But there's
the 2 best games of the weekend to me were Nebraska, Michigan, and Illinois, Indiana.
Illinois, Indiana, Auburn, Oklahoma, Jackson Arnold revenge game. There's so many other choices you could have gone, but you want to go to Miami versus Florida, where DJ Lagway just threw 5 interceptions on the road against LSU. That's the game you pick.
What is the line in that football game?
Miami, Florida. You'd be surprised what the line is.
Is it closer than I'd expect?
A lot closer than you'd expect.
I would have expected Miami. That's about what I expect. It opened Miami minus 9.5. It's now Miami minus 7.5. I'll tell you, at 9.5, I would take Florida. At 7.5, 6.5, I'm taking Miami. 7.5 is marginal. 9.5, I'm probably taking Florida because everyone's been talking about how bad Florida is this week, and motivation's a real thing in college football.
Oh, absolutely.
Florida will be the more motivated team all week long based on what has happened to them the past 2 weeks. So we'll see. What they want to do is they want this to be the Miami is back tour for College Game Day. You know, if College Game Day were rooting here, they'd be rooting for Miami to go show the world the U is back. that's a good storyline for ESPN. But when I look at national college football storylines, the blue blood helmet game nature of Michigan versus Nebraska puts it up there. That's a great game. Illinois, Indiana might be a playoff eliminator between the two upstarts in the Big Ten. Indiana hasn't played anyone this year. Illinois has played Duke, who Duke does not look as good as they were going into that Illinois game. They lost over the weekend, didn't they?
To Tulane.
Yeah, which maybe Tulane's just good because they also smoked Northwestern. And Northwestern backdoor covered against Oregon. Backdoor covered. They're still not good.
Preston Stone. Ugh,
yeah.
Gross.
No. But Miami, Florida to me is the third best college football game of the weekend, followed by Oklahoma, Auburn. So at least busting with the boys is coming.
And Josh Pate.
So
what do they call that? They have a really cool name.
The Pate State, is it Pate State something?
No, it's gonna make me mad if I don't. They named it something really cool. Fall. It's something with fall.
Fall don't lie.
Yeah,
the fall don't lie to her.
That's
not bad. That's not bad. Anyway, Nebraska, Michigan coming your way on a Saturday. We'll obviously be talking about this today, plus tomorrow, plus Wednesday, plus Thursday, plus Friday. This is the game that Husker fans have been waiting for, as the proof is in the pudding type game. Is Nebraska as good as we think as they could be this year? Could they be that team that is fighting for a college football playoff? Saturday will tell us a lot. So we're counting down the hours until Nebraska and Michigan kick off 2:30 on Saturday. Plenty more to bring you here in the morning hookup. We'll have Evan Bland joining us next hour. We'll talk some NFL. That's coming away after the break right here on the morning hookup.
My little brother texts me and goes, "Hey, I'm watching you." And I wanted to be like, shouldn't you be in school right now? You know what they're doing? And he lives in small town Iowa where my dad lives.
Uh-huh.
And they're doing a 4-day school week.
Why?
They have Mondays off every single week.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. But I think they go a little later or something like that.
I have seen this as a like some of the, what would you call it? The academics out there believe it's actually better for students' development and students' attention spans to only go 4-day weeks as opposed to 5-day weeks. I have seen some steam with that.
Interesting.
The two things you'll see are starting school later and going 4-day week with longer days. The two things they think might be better for kids, actually. But I also think this is not tinfoil hat. This is like legitimately the point. Like, school is supposed to prepare you for a work day.
Yep.
It's supposed to be 12 years of 8 hours a day with this time that starts right about when the school day or when the work day starts and right about when the work day ends to prepare you for going and working 8 hours. That's not tinfoil hat. That's like a real purpose of school. Also makes it easy for the adults out there who have to go to work to just be able to drop off their kids, and when they're done with work, they can just go pick up their kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's not government daycare, but it's hey,
kind of.
And then whenever the kids graduate, they have already spent 12 years being prepared for what a workday schedule will bring them, which is show up at either 8, 9 in the morning and work till 4. Pretty standard workday.
There's a lot of talking points to it.
So it's not necessarily designed to be the best for kids learning.
Can you imagine though, like Sunday night football gets over and you're like, oh, I don't have school tomorrow.
How far up Fortnite?
So unfair.
The Sunday scaries would always hit so bad when I was in high school and during Sunday night football, because, well, you'd have homework to do and you wouldn't want to do it because Sunday night football's on.
I don't know about you, but I was a huge procrastinator when it came
big
to
time.
homework. Oh, I got everything done last second.
There's nothing worse than wanting to watch Sunday night football and being like, but I didn't do my homework all weekend.
Exactly. You're like, oh, I'll do it while I watch the game. And then you're like, oh, it's the third quarter. I haven't started anything yet.
I'm sure. And then by the time you work on the homework, it's you have half attention on Sunday night football and half attention on homework, and you end up enjoying neither. Well, you don't enjoy homework anyway. But thank God I don't have to do that anymore.
Oh, yeah. This is my first semester without school in like 15, 16 years.
It feels different.
Yeah.
Did you know, as we welcome you back into the morning hookup here on a Monday, that I've brought up this story before. I don't know if I brought it up with you. This was originally supposed to be the opening credit song for Friends.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
I always bring this up. This is a fun fact from our good friend and music aficionado, Michael Dixon. He's down in Dallas now. He's the former voice of Lincoln Salt Dogs. So you hear him if you're down in Dallas on the Dallas Stars radio broadcast now. But he loves him, music history. He's a big Fish fan. Like he's Dave Matthews Band. He's a jam band kind of guy. But he likes REM. And that was one of his favorite fun facts was that this was the original theme song for Friends. And they couldn't get it to clear for some reason. So they had the song by whoever the hell it was.
Don't get mad at me. What is the Friends song? I never watched Friends.
You watch Friends?
I know. I always get so much slack about this. I've never seen Friends. So no one told. Yes.
Yeah.
I know. Okay, I know the song.
Yeah. I actually couldn't tell you what it's called though.
Me
I made fun of you, but anyway, NFL we go to. We have like what 3.5 minutes probably left this hour.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Wow.
I've been producing for way too long. Big NFL weekend. We'll get into some of the Monday Night Football coming your way after the break, top of the hour, next hour. But the slate. First off, the Cowboys and Giants game was the game of the weekend.
Gosh.
If you the thing is, Russell Wilson had a great game. If I'm a Giants fan, I am pissed at Russell Wilson. 450 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then a stupid interception in overtime that sets up the Cowboys for the win. That game was bound to be a tie until Russell Wilson throws that pick. So you have to be a little frustrated with Russell Wilson. He's what kept you in the game. He's what sent it to overtime.
Okay,
the two moon balls, one to Wandale, one to Malik Neighbors. That's what sends it to overtime. And Dallas goes and scores in 15 seconds.
Brandon Aubrey, 64 yards.
Incredible.
I texted in my group chat. I was like, okay, hold on. Aubrey still got a leg. Just get to the 45 or 46. And they did. And he drilled it. Absolutely drilled it. But yes, Russ, that moon ball, okay, he loves the moon ball for one, which I think is awesome. I think when you have a deep receiver like that, that's how you should throw a deep ball. But that one in overtime was really, really, really bad. Just I don't even know what he was thinking. But 450 how mad can you really be, Elijah? 450 yards, 3 touchdowns. That was his only pick of the game. They're not in that game without him.
As a Broncos fan, you can still be frustrated because he had games like that in Denver. You go, man, Russell was good. And he's got the ball with 90 seconds left and a chance to go and win it, and he throws a stupid pick or misses a wide open touchdown or something like that. It's the aging Russell Wilson experience. So condolences to to Giants fans. Congrats, Cowboys fans. That was my favorite game of the weekend. The Eagles and Kansas City game was good. The Eagles hold on. They were kind of in control of that football game. You have the argument with the one tush push. Drew Tranquill ends up with the football, and Dean Blandino goes and complains about how hard it is to officiate the tush push.
I 100% agree.
I 100% agree. There's a couple things you can do to start, though. You can start calling neutral zone infractions.
You can start calling neutral zone infractions.
False starts.
Illegal formations. Yeah. False starts. Because the left guard and the right guard do false start quite literally every time. They cut. It's if they can false start and cut, it's impossible to defend. Impossible to defend. There's nothing you can do. And the tush push creates you can't see where the ball is half the time. So the official can't give a real spot. The thing about the NFL rulebook is the center is the one person that can line up above the ball in the neutral zone, and it's legal. The problem is, and hey, I know Cam Jurgens is the center for the Eagles, and we love him, and it's not just a him problem. It's everyone in the NFL. A lot of those centers are lining up with their helmet past the football. You can throw a flag on that. You can throw a flag for the offensive line lining up in the neutral zone. You can throw a flag on the defensive line for lining up in the neutral zone. There are things you can do to make it easier to officiate play, but the NFL doesn't do it for whatever reason. But Eagles hold on. The Broncos blow it. Penalty on the field goal. That sucked. Other than that, good NFL weekend. Those are the games that stood out. Oh, also the Chicago Bears got crushed. They're awful.
They might be really bad this year. We have more NFL thoughts coming away after the break. We'll also have Evan Bland joining us next hour.
Save Save big on Dutch Boy's Durafighter paint at Menards and start your next project today. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
We all know someone who shows up. No spotlight, no big fuss, just heart. Maybe it's a teacher, a neighbor, or a friend who's always there when you need them. I'm Kenya Reynoso at Roper & Sons, and we think those everyday heroes deserve a little recognition. That's what Here's to the Heroes is all about. So if someone made a difference in your life or around the Lincoln community, take a minute to nominate them. Nominations are open through September 15th at roperandsons.com. Let's give them the thanks they may never ask for, but truly deserve.
Let's go!
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
My mother was always very active and independent, and she was familiar with her neighborhood. But one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. She wasn't even really sure where she was at.
It's important for you to talk to someone about it. I felt so much better after my son told me, Mom, we'll figure it out.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Lincoln's local news, talk, sports, and weather station. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, and KFRX HD3, Lincoln.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Trump administration officials say they have reached a framework deal with the Chinese on the ownership of TikTok. The deadline for the Chinese company to either sell the app or be banned in the U.S. was to have been Wednesday. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent in Madrid, following talks, says Presidents Trump and Xi will have an announcement later this week.
The framework is for it to switch to U.S.-controlled ownership. But again, I'm not going to get ahead of the leaders' call on Friday. We have a framework. They'll have to confirm the deal.
The Federal Reserve widely expected to cut interest rates at least a quarter point when it holds its September meeting this week. City of Memphis, the latest place where President Trump wants to send federal troops. Here's ABC Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce.
The president is once again escalating his use of the military on U.S. soil. This time, though, he's targeting a Republican state, announcing he's going to be sending in the National Guard to Memphis, saying only he can save the city from crime. The Republican governor is welcoming this deployment, but the Democratic mayor of the city says he doesn't need this, doesn't want it, doesn't think it will bring down crime there.
Charges are expected to be formally filed as soon as tomorrow against Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old accused of shooting activist Charlie Kirk to death last week. ABC's Matt Gutman is in Utah with more on the investigation.
Authorities in Utah are poring over what they call a mountain of evidence against 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, the man authorities say fired that single fatal shot, killing Charlie Kirk. The district attorney saying they hope to file charges by tomorrow, but authorities say they're receiving little help from the suspect who turned himself in Thursday.
Kirk's funeral to be held at State Farm Stadium in Phoenix on Sunday. President Trump says he will be there. Venezuela's government says the U.S. Coast Guard illegally boarded a Venezuelan fishing ship searching for drugs. They found none, though. Venezuela says it was in Venezuelan waters. The U.S. says it was in international waters. This is ABC News.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Some storms turn severe Sunday afternoon. Good morning. I'm Jeff Moats. Right now, 70 degrees at KFOR. Severe storms blossomed up over eastern Nebraska Sunday, producing quarter-sized hail around northwest Lincoln and other areas of northern Lancaster County. The winds, though, were a problem, too. Wind damage reported in Butler County, west of Brainerd. Wind gusts of 60 miles per hour were reported around the Wahoo area in Saunders County. There was also tree damage reported in the Friend area of Saline County because of high winds. A large branch had landed on a home. Also, wind damage was reported near Tamora in Seward County. Also in Seward County and Staplehurst, 1-inch diameter hail was reported. A weapons violation early Friday afternoon in central Lincoln. Police were called to the area of 47th and M. A witness reported seeing an adult male rack the slide of a handgun and pointed at 2 juveniles following an argument. Police showed up. They were able to identify the 2 17-year-old victims. They reported getting into an argument with the male after he confronted them about their behavior in the area. Now, it was during the argument that the male produced the black handgun and racked the slide and pointed it at the juveniles. And during the course of the investigation, 31-year-old Caleb Burgess Kelly was identified as a suspect. A gun was also recovered during the investigation. Burgess Kelly was arrested and put in the Lancaster County Jail for terroristic threats and use of a weapon to commit a felony. The results are out from the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over detail done August 15th through the 30th with Lincoln Police. There were 172 stops made, 137 citations were issued, and 120 warnings were given.
Officers took a zero-tolerance approach to drivers under the influence of drugs or alcohol.
LPD Public Information Manager Erica Thomas says 34 speeding tickets were written, while 14 DUI arrests were made. Additional officers worked overtime on nights and weekends during the detail. Funding for this was made possible through a grant from the Nebraska Department of Transportation's Highway Safety Office. Lincoln's first forecast for today, sunshine and a high of 88. I'm Jeff Moats, KFOR News.
Not all heroes wear capes. Sometimes they deliver meals to neighbors, mentor kids after school, or quietly lift up others when no one is watching. I'm Dean Schneider, co-owner at Roper & Sons, and we believe everyday heroes deserve to be seen. That's why we're proud to sponsor Here's to the Heroes, a special recognition for someone who's made a difference in your life or our community. Nominate your hero today. All ages, all roles, because kindness and courage come in many forms. Visit roperandsons.com to submit your nomination by September 15th.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic.
This is the Morning Hookup on KFOR.
Roll into hour 2 here. It's the Morning Hookup. Elijah Herbal and YZ sitting in this morning for Bill Hooks. Bill Hooks will return to the show on Wednesday. He's out golfing right now. I wish I was out golfing right now. Despite the fact that my golf game has been bad about all summer long. Still sounds like a nice way to spend a Monday morning. It's going to be a beautiful day here around as well. Sitting at 74 right now. We're looking at mid-80s. By the way, if you're wondering, early look ahead. Nebraska-Michigan forecast. We have a 30% chance of rain on Saturday. But high of 76 degrees. That is football weather right there. 76 degrees. It might not be able to get more perfect for football.
No, probably not.
Because especially with a 2:30 game, the hottest part of the day will likely be in that 3 to 4 o'clock range. So we're talking during the game, mid-70s.
Was it Rutgers last year where it was just really hot?
Hot and windy. It was like a convection oven, which was roughly the same time of year as well. That was late September.
Yeah, gross.
Yeah.
You need to have a breeze.
I'd prefer no rain.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I would prefer no rain, but I can get down with 76 degrees, and I'll take the risk of a 30% chance of rain for a 76-degree day. Personally, that sounds really nice. Perfect weather to get outside and have a tailgate too. Like it's probably gonna be like low 60s in the morning, so you can get your tailgate set up low 60s. Maybe a light jacket on in the morning.
You're a weather guy.
I'm not. Okay, so there's
the question behind this.
Okay, I'm not like sit in front of the green screen in the TV studio and give you all the weather predictions, but I enjoy the weather.
When they say 30% chance of rain, I've always been confused by that. Isn't there always like a 50% chance of rain?
Either it rains or it doesn't.
It's either going to rain or it's not, right? So what does the 30% mean?
30% means based on their models. I think from what I understand. Well, and there's a difference because it used to be in TV, which I think they have since changed it with all this new stuff. It was like they'd have to do it for the entire viewing area. So the bigger your viewing area was, it actually changed. Like if you're in the viewing area, there's a 30% chance of rain. I think they've since changed that up. What it means is based on their models, 30% of what their models say have it as raining in Lincoln on Saturday. 70% don't. And that kind of changes throughout the week.
Okay.
So because they have multiple different weather models that based on there's uncertainty the further out you get,
Right.
So like the weather models have like, well, if this happens, which is possible, then this will happen, this will happen, this will happen. So as it stands right now, again, I did not go to meteorology school. I know some people who did. They're all doing great for themselves.
Either way, if it rains, it's not the worst thing in the world.
I mean, it depends on how hard it rains. Which by the time you get to September, it's usually not thunderstorms. We did have that one weird 10-minute rainstorm. Did it hit you guys in South Lincoln as well yesterday?
Yeah.
About, what was that, 5 o'clock?
Mm-hmm.
We had that one random 10-minute downpour.
I was at work when that happened. It started hailing too. I was like, oh God, my car.
And 10 minutes later, it was sunny skies again. I'm like, okay.
Yep.
That was strange. But yeah, 30% chance of rain on Saturday. I'd prefer it to be dry. I think that's advantage Nebraska. The rainier it gets, I think the more advantage Michigan it gets with how much that going the football. But that's the early look at the weather forecast for Saturday. So maybe pack a rain jacket. We'll keep you updated on that throughout the week. Also have rain chances Wednesday and Thursday, but Friday looks beautiful as it stands right now. So we'll hope for no rain for Saturday. Would you rather, before we get Evan Bland on the line here, we got about 5 minutes before we'll take a break and get Evan on. Would you rather look back at the college football weekend and do some looking around college football, or would you rather continue our discussion of NFL and preview Monday night?
Oh,
let's preview Monday night later.
Okay.
Let's get back into the college football weekend that was.
Okay.
We spent some time talking about Nebraska. Easy win. Doesn't really matter. We're all talking about Michigan. Elsewhere, we talked a little about Florida. How about Miami? We did briefly talk about what they have against Florida. They laid the wood to South Florida, which I predicted. Is Miami for real? Carson Beck, 23 of 28, 340 yards, 3 touchdowns. Also, Fletcher, their running back, who he splits time with Marty Brown, 16 carries, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. That was a dominant performance.
To answer your question, yeah, I think they're good. That game against Notre Dame kind of not told me all I need to know, but I've been a big Carson Beck hater the last couple of years. He looked very
poised,
super relaxed, not making anything crazy throws. The offensive line was moving people, and the defensive line was blowing holes up.
The Miami team looks for real.
They have some dudes on that team, and the only problem continues to be Cristobal, because he almost lost them that game against Notre Dame with just how he coached it in the fourth quarter. But when it comes to talent, yeah, Miami's got it pretty much everywhere.
And it's going to be a playoff team.
Yeah,
it's going to be a playoff team. They have the game against Florida, which it's advantage Miami against Florida. Florida does not look ready to compete as a top 25 team. They look like they're going to be struggling to make a bowl game. Is that an overreaction? Maybe, but you look at their schedule, brutal. Their schedule's brutal.
Yeah.
They're going to be struggling to make a bowl game. And then Miami's got Florida State after a bye week. Huge game. Otherwise, they got Louisville, Stanford, SMU, who SMU got scared this week.
Where do they play Louisville at?
In Miami.
Oh.
Miami's first game outside the state of Florida is not until November 1st when they play SMU. Yeah. So they have Florida at home. They're on the road at Florida State, but still within the confines of the state of Florida. Home against Louisville, home against Stanford, and then their first game outside the state of Florida is against SMU November 1st. Back home against Syracuse. Back home against NC State. They're at Virginia Tech, and they're at Pitt.
I don't hear a lot of losses.
I don't either. That's a playoff team.
Yep.
Be prepared. They're the number 5 team. They can lose to Florida State and still be a playoff team. They can potentially lose to Florida State and SMU and still be a playoff team. That'll be tougher, but it depends if they make it into the ACC title game or not. But that Miami team, likely a playoff team. Be prepared. Georgia, Tennessee.
What a game.
You got to feel for that Tennessee kicker.
Yeah. Also, I mean, you could have put the game away in Tennessee. You had a 4th and 2, and you gave up. I don't know how far that pass was from Stockton to the kid in the corner of the end zone. And then they converted a 2-point conversion as well. That was an incredible way to finish that game. But also that Tennessee kicker, I'm watching him on the sidelines. I looked over at my roommate. I said, he's blowing this. You
can see in his eyes.
You could just look at a kicker sometimes and be like, yeah, he's
not doing it.
there was a kicker for the Commanders, Zane Gonzalez. And he says that he has like, it's, I don't know, ADHD or OCD, but he was like constantly taking his helmet off and fixing his hair. And then just doing it over and over again. And it's the same thing. You can just tell in a kicker's eyes, like, yeah, he's nervous as heck. He is not making this kick. But did Tennessee get the ball to start in overtime?
Yeah.
And then Georgia just put it away?
Yeah.
Just that was an incredible game. But
Georgia went and won it, I think, was it 4 plays or 5 plays in overtime?
Yeah.
It was quick.
Yeah.
So you feel a little bit for Tennessee.
A&M,
Georgia
Dame.
did. Yeah. How about Nate Borkacher?
Did he make that game-winning catch?
On 4th down.
Wow. I didn't even realize. I didn't put 2 and 2 together that was him.
Nate Borkacher.
Wow.
Yeah. So Texas A&M goes on the road, beats Notre Dame. Notre Dame now sits at 0-2. Their playoff chances,
very slim.
I'd say slim to none, and Slim's in the process of leaving town.
They had a mishap on an extra point, didn't they?
Yep.
And that's what lost them the game.
Yep.
I mean, just like there's 2 games right there, for examples, that it comes down to the little small plays like that. That's insane.
Yeah. So down goes Notre Dame, and you look at Notre Dame's schedule. I think they may have lost their playoff chances. Okay, look at their schedule here. Purdue, that's not going to tell anybody anything.
No.
Arkansas, you can win it, and it's not going to get you back into playoff conversations. Boise State, NC State, USC, Boston College, Navy, Pitt, Syracuse, and Stanford.
The only game is USC that would have any sort of
run the table, and maybe have a chance at getting backdoor into the playoff, but it's going to be tough, and they would need some help. They need USC to be undefeated when they play them. They need to beat USC, and they need some help from some other playoff teams falling off, I think. But Notre Dame's playoff chances look grim right now. Elsewhere,
Georgia Tech.
I was going to go Vandy.
Oh, but yeah. absolute beatdown.
They did knock Lenora Sellers out of that football game. It was a targeting call that gave Lenora Sellers a seemingly concussion. You don't want to be a doctor from the stands, but it was helmet to helmet contact.
Mm-hmm.
He looked a little wobbly after that. He doesn't play the rest of the game. If you're Vandy, this sounds bad. That's a trade you'll make. You'll trade losing a linebacker for South Carolina to lose arguably their best player in Lenora Sellers. It changed the complexion of the game. That being said, Vandy still took it to him.
Yeah.
Diego Pavia, that guy's a leader. That guy's a winner. I still don't like his comments about Nebraska, but credit to Vandy. They're still undefeated. Big win against South Carolina. Yeah, lastly, Georgia Tech called this one. That Georgia Tech offense is very, very tough to prepare for.
That's my team, man. I love those guys.
They go and win it. Big balls field goal to go win that thing late.
Yeah.
He crushed that thing. Georgia Tech gets a big win over Clemson. Clemson's playoff chances also looking slim out of the ACC. Go run the table, win the ACC title game. I mean, obviously winning the ACC title game gets you in no matter what, but that's what it looks like for me for them right now.
When I watch Clemson, I'm just like, they just don't got it. The it factor, they don't got it. I don't know what it is, but
Cade Klubnik, I bought in at the end of last season.
Me too.
His last couple games plus the playoff, I went, you know what? Cade Klubnik might have finally put it all together. He starts off this season. It's the same old Cade Klubnik.
Mm-hmm.
That was a 4-game stretch where he was great, and I was like, this is what we expected from him coming into college. And he's regressed back to what he was, which is a average quarterback.
I mean, everybody was penciling them in to win the ACC, make the playoffs. Cade Klubnik for Heisman. All of that is down the drain. People could not have been any more wrong.
No. He just looks like a pedestrian average college football quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a great roster around him. Usually that elevates a quarterback. So I'm out on Clemson. Georgia Tech, though, great football team. The win against Colorado didn't mean that much. This is a win that means something. To me, it's Miami and Georgia Tech in the ACC. And maybe I'm sleeping on SMU, but they really struggled this weekend. They were on upset alert.
What about Florida State?
Oh, I forgot about Florida State. We'll see. That's a big game coming up here in a couple of weeks, Miami against Florida State. That'll tell us a lot. Damn, I almost forgot about them. Thank you. Man, Georgia Tech, Florida State, and Miami. Could it be 3 playoff teams in the ACC this year? Probably. 1 out of the Big 12.
I mean,
and then so you go 4 Big 10, 4 SEC. Oh no, we're running out of teams here because you have the one group of 5. 3 out of the Big 10, 4 out of the Big 10. It's gonna be ACC is gonna be tough to get 3 in, but I think you might have 3 teams with a good argument. We'll see how the year plays out, but
the Big 12, they're going to continue to just beat each other up. I think the team that comes out of the Big 12 is going to have 3 losses. Like they're just going to eat each other alive. Like the SEC has done in the past couple of years, it's going to be the Big 12 this year. There's not any team in that pack that just blows me away. They all have like little parts about them that make them what they are. But there's no team in the Big 12 right now that's just far and away better.
For what it's worth, I've penciled in South Florida as the group of 5 team that makes it in.
Mm-hmm.
They're penciled in out of the Big. Who even taking out of the Big 12 right now?
See, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. Baylor, TCU,
Iowa State, Cincinnati. I know they have the loss, but they've been good since the loss to Nebraska. Houston's still undefeated.
That's not going to last.
I don't think so either. It's probably Iowa State.
Arizona's still undefeated. That's not going to last.
Arizona State isn't what they were last year. Colorado's not good.
My Big 12 contenders: Kansas, Baylor, TCU, Iowa State, Utah, Texas Tech. I mean, that's 6 teams. Like I really don't know who to pick from that group of 6.
I'm probably on Iowa State right now. I love Rocco Becht, their quarterback, but we'll see.
He's a baller. So
if it's Iowa State and South Florida, it leaves you 10 spots left. Can 3 teams from the ACC make it in and leave 7 spots between the Big 10 and the SEC? It might come down to a Georgia Tech against whoever finishes 4th in the SEC or 4th in the Big 10. That might be the playoff conversation. It's an early time to have that, but that's what I'm looking at right now. We shall see. It was an interesting college football weekend. The ACC looks good.
Better than we thought.
Better than we thought with Georgia Tech, Florida State, and Miami. So we shall see where things go, where we go on the show. We're going to check in with Evan Bland, Omaha World Herald, talk some Husker football, brief thoughts on the win over Houston Christian. We're going to look ahead to the week that will be with Nebraska and Michigan. That's all coming your way on the Morning Hookup right here on KFOR.
See if I can dial the right number this time.
Everyone on the stream just sits here in silence. Sorry, stream listeners. We got him on the line. Howdy, Evan. How are you doing today?
Morning, guys. What's going on?
Thank God it's Michigan week.
Yeah, finally. This will be fun.
Will be fun. We're coming back here in what, about 45 seconds?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll just hang out here.
Yeah, I was struggling a little bit on Real Red Reaction Show. I was like trying to find pieces to talk about. Like, yeah, we beat Houston Christian by a lot of points, and we also beat Akron by a lot of points.
What does it mean? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
You watched the Broncos game yesterday, Evan?
Unfortunately,
I am with you on that one. It was a penalty, but the NFL never calls that. It's so I hate it whenever they pick and choose times to call. Like the Colts did that same thing on the Broncos whenever Lutz doinked it in the fourth. The Colts did that exact same thing, and nobody cared. But then it happens on the final play of the game, and now it gets called, and it's a 15-yard penalty, and you gift it. So,
yeah, I can't remember the last leverage call, but there's.
Mama told me when I was young.
great song, YZ. I'm singing along here in the studio. I hope the people at home got to hear that and enjoy that. They're also going to sit here and enjoy what Evan Bland has to say. Welcome, Evan Bland, the Omaha World Herald, into the morning hookup here on a Monday. Evan, Nebraska got a win against Houston Christian. The Broncos lose. It made me not want to watch Sunday Night Football. I was in a Broncos depression all night. That being said, it was still a good weekend for one Elijah Herbal. How are you doing? How's your weekend?
Yeah, similar. Saturday kind of felt like spring game a little bit with Houston Christian. All we were missing was someone pulling farm equipment or doing bench presses on the sideline. But so that was a little disappointing. But as a fellow Bronco fan, yeah, I can feel that pain from a game that looked like they won and then they didn't. And we learned a little bit about leverage and what that means and how that can cost games. So we're on the rebound. It's a new week. It's a new day. I'm getting after it.
Did you get a chance to watch Bud Crawford on Saturday night, Evan?
I did. Yeah. I can probably count on one hand how many boxing matches I've watched, like from start to finish. But I did with that. And it was really entertaining. I thought, just the story of Bud moving up a couple weight classes and, he had the reach advantage, but clearly was the lighter fighter. But just his ability to avoid the big hits and get in his own licks and not back down, even as the smaller guy physically. Like what a heart of a champion. And it's one of those moments, and I think he's one of those athletes just in general where, like, even if you're not a fan of the sport, like, you can just sense the greatness and sense something special going on. So one of those rare moments when I think the match lived up to the hype. You know, you wish maybe it would have been a little earlier so more people could have tuned in, but cool deal that it was on Netflix, and he's repping the Nebraska hat, and a really pretty awesome night for him, certainly, and then for the state and for Omaha as well.
Yeah, now I think, Evan, what I want to see before the career ends, get him to Memorial Stadium, get him fighting in front of 90,000, maybe 100,000. I think that's the kind of celebration that Bud deserves from this state for everything he has done throughout his career. And also from what I saw, Bud's still got a lot left in the tank. That was kind of the question mark was, man, he's getting up there in age. I think is he 38 in January or 39 in January? The question was, man, is he getting past his prime? That man, he looks timeless. He was just as good on Saturday night as he has been in his previous 10 fights. I'd love to see him fight in front of Memorial Stadium, get the flowers that he is due from the state of Nebraska.
Yeah, totally. I'm like a year older than him. So just the idea that he's doing what he's doing is pretty remarkable. And I agree. Like, I didn't think he looked like he was slowing down. And, maybe some of that has to do with just his size. Like, he's not, 250 pounds and 6'6". Like, I think sometimes you can stay a little fresher. Certainly he trains and takes care of himself in such a way that's a big part of that too. And you wonder if he might make an appearance next Saturday, leading Nebraska out of the tunnel walk. Like, how timely would that be for a game like that? And I was really impressed with him when he came for the Colorado game last year and spoke to the team. Like, he was really, some of the things that he said, I thought were really insightful and inspiring about how, diamonds can come from anywhere, and, anybody can be a nobody, like that kind of stuff. Like, I thought he could be a real leader of other people in addition to kind of what he's done on his own. But yeah, I mean, and now he's at a point in his career where if he wanted to have a match at Memorial Stadium, like, clearly Nebraska leaders were welcoming that and would be very much open to that. And what a celebration that could be, maybe, a year from now or 2 years from now, or whenever he wants to wind things down. You can just kind of envision sort of almost a volleyball day at Nebraska sort of thing, boxing edition, where you get that ring at midfield, and he could have one more big moment. But I don't think the Bud Crawford story is done, but certainly what happened Saturday night was a major turning point in, at the very least, what his perception is within the sport and nationally.
I think potentially leaves a legacy as one of the greatest American boxers of all time, Evan, and we'll see where his career goes from here. But where we go now is to Husker football. You talked about Bud potentially leading Nebraska out on the field against Michigan. We'll see. I think Nebraska would like to. We'll see what Bud wants to do with that. Before we get to Michigan, though, takeaways from Houston Christian, it's kind of something we bat around back in hour one. Is there anything that can really be taken away from Akron and Houston Christian as it relates to Nebraska, how they'll perform against Michigan?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the same discussion from both of those games, where you're encouraged by the killer instinct and the internal motivation. That, to me, is the main thing, where you just think back to recent years under Rule and before Matt Rule got to Lincoln, where they would play teams that they had more talent than, and they would win, but, it was hard to stay sharp for 60 minutes, or, they kind of faded in the second half or whatever it might be. And they just left no doubt in either of these games. And I think that's the best sign of a team that's got that internal pilot light, is when you're not worried about the scoreboard. You're just worried about your own standard. And, hey, can this play be better than the last play? And how can we get better, moving forward, instead of looking back or looking at the scoreboard? So I think that's a really encouraging sign. That's the kind of quality that can certainly help you beat teams that you have more talent than, but I think it's also a quality that keeps you even keel and steady when you're going up against a brand name like Michigan. I mean, this isn't the 2023 national title Wolverines, but this is a strong unit with a incredibly talented quarterback in Bryce Underwood, and a defense that is still full of athletes and playmakers. So I think you feel good about just sort of their inner psyche in that way. And then, I think you saw some things from a depth perspective that could play a part either Saturday or into Big Ten play beyond, where you look at a guy like Quentin Ives and say, okay, looks like Nebraska found its number 2 running back. That was a guy who had his best day as a Husker that could pay off later on. Or you look at Dawson Merritt, who came in and had a really strong, especially second half. That's a guy you think is going to get some more meaningful snaps moving forward. You saw Cade Petschok and Rex Guthrie, and so some of these guys are going to make appearances on Saturday. I imagine some of their roles will increase as the season goes on. But that's kind of what I take from it, is you have more guys that are playing with more confidence, and you've got a team that, again, is less worried about what the score is and more worried about their own standard. And I think that's going to play well in some of these bigger games coming up too.
Well, it's Evan Bland from Omaha. Wow, words are hard. Evan Bland from the Omaha World Herald speaking with us. And I'll play a little bit of devil's advocate. We talked about some things you can take away from those games, but is there anything that maybe have some cause for concern, especially coming up against Michigan on Saturday?
Well, I think the matchup of the game for me that I'm going to be looking closely at is, how does Nebraska defend Bryce Underwood? I mean, you saw what he just did against Central Michigan, where he just exploded as a runner, scored a couple rushing touchdowns, converted some third and mediums, third and longs, when there wasn't really anybody open downfield. He did it with his own athletic ability. So I don't know that there was a sense even 2 weeks ago that Underwood would provide this level of a threat as a mobile quarterback. And so you don't have to think back far to the Cincinnati opener and remember what Brendan Sorsby did against Nebraska, doing some freelancing and scrambling and creating, gains on his own. How does Nebraska adjust to that now with Underwood, a guy who's just as athletic, if not more so, plus he has that ability to pass as well. Oklahoma did a good job of defending that. I think you kind of look at how they made him run, and then they were able to contain him. I think that's the idea. But how does Nebraska's front seven stack up in that regard? How does can they stay assignment sound? Can they contain him and then force him to pass into that secondary that's been pretty good? I think that's the matchup that I'm looking at. I mean, you just saw again on Saturday a former 5-star in Underwood sort of realize that he can be a guy, be the dude at the college level. So how does that translate over into Saturday, first Big Ten road game for him? I think that's going to be really interesting. But Nebraska's their rush defense hasn't been stellar through 3 games. It's going to be tested even more on Saturday. That's going to be the area I think you're really going to want to see Nebraska step up from what it's been.
And I brought this up back in hour one, Evan. It's often said in football, and it's kind of an old school term, but the best offense is a good defense. That by keeping the other team's score low, it really helps your offense. Is this a game where potentially that could flip, where Nebraska's best defense could be a good offense if you go out and take the lead, force Michigan to throw the football around a little bit and get them away from their game plan? Could that be a fair assessment for how Nebraska needs to go win this football game?
Yeah, potentially. I do think, like, between the idea of, like, will Nebraska be able to score more or will they be able to prevent points more? I feel like this is a game where you probably are going to have to put up some more points. And so maybe it is a little bit more of maybe not a shootout, but just a higher scoring game where both sides are going to be able to move it up and down. And I think it'll be a really interesting game for Dylan Raiola. Like this, if this were Nebraska of 3 years ago, you probably want to slow it way down and limit possessions because Nebraska just hadn't been the more talented team. I think their talent at the skill positions and on the lines now, especially the offensive line, is pretty comparable to what Michigan has. So, yeah, I think if you're Dana Holgorsen or you're Dylan Raiola or Matt Rule, you say, we can hang with these guys. Let's run our offense. Let's get our routine plays. A few of them are going to pop. We're going to complete balls at a high percentage, and Emmett Johnson's going to make a few plays. And then, you flip that around. If you're able to get that early lead, then you're putting a lot on the true freshman in Underwood to create some plays and maybe be more of a passer and more predictable in that regard too. So I think this is a game where Nebraska absolutely does what it does offensively. You don't change much because it's Michigan, and that's that reality to me, because it's changed so much in the last 3 years, is a good sign that this program's starting to be a peer, on the same level as a lot of these brand name teams like Michigan.
It's Evan Bland with us here from the Omaha World Herald. It's the morning hookup. And Evan, how much of a factor do you think the coaching situation at Michigan makes in this game? Biff Poggi, he's going to be the head coach, at least for this game, for the Michigan Wolverines. I thought the offense for Michigan looked a little bit different with him at the helm on Saturday. How big of an impact is that in this game in your eyes?
I think it's a factor. Like, the best way I try to look at it is like, what if Matt Rule wasn't on the sidelines for Nebraska for a game? Like, I think that would make a difference. It absolutely would. And so, Sharon Moore has been the leader there. You just listen to Biff Poggi and some of the players talk about Moore's impact on the team and that, like, it's significant. Like, they played with extra motivation against Central Michigan for their head coach. They're going to have a similar motivation this week. So, in that sense, maybe it actually helps them a little bit, just that they're playing for something a little more specific and tangible than they normally would. But yeah, just in terms of like game day operations and who's making the calls, like, it's just everyone's in a little bit of a different role than they normally would be. So I think that's something that could work to Nebraska's favor too, where those guys are kind of shuffling the chairs a little bit on the other sideline and trying to get through this game. And whereas Nebraska's got more continuity, certainly with those coaches, but then I think with some older players too. Michigan's kind of a young team, so I think what they're going to be doing is going to be kind of a new experience for a lot of them outside of the Oklahoma game, where they're going into a hostile environment and trying to figure things out on the fly in an unfamiliar sort of setting. So yeah, I think that's something that could make a difference.
Evan, how big of a game like this, how big is it for such thing as playoff implications? This Michigan's one of the 2 or 3, USC could possibly be ranked coming into Nebraska later on in the year. But if winning a game like this and then doing what you need to do against the rest of the Big Ten Conference, if Nebraska wins this one and then maybe drops to Penn State per se, or even USC, are we looking at a possible playoff team with Nebraska?
Well, this game is one that would go a long way in deciding that. Yeah, if you go 10-2 with Nebraska's schedule, yeah, I think you're absolutely in that conversation to being on the fringe of that 12-team group. And it is a big game. Like, this is one, even though this isn't 2023 Michigan national championship team, like, this is a game that will move the needle for casual college football fans. Like, if you see Nebraska beating Michigan on the bottom line, like, that's something that changes perception of the program in a way that Nebraska just hasn't had that opportunity yet this year with their 3 opponents. So they're going to have some more later on. But this is one where I think it can validate a lot of what Nebraska is trying to do, a lot of the preseason prognosticating that has gone on. This could validate that, and it could go the other way. Like, you think Michigan's won 4 straight against Nebraska, and for the most part, those games have been decisively in favor of Michigan to say, this is where Michigan is in the pecking order, and this is where Nebraska is. And I think this is that opportunity for Nebraska to say, we've closed the gap. We have a foundation of culture and talent that's comparable now to Michigan. And the other thing you think about is, like, this program's starting to knock off some of these old streaks that have kind of hung on. You ended the bowl streak last year. You got back to the postseason, just beating a ranked team. Nebraska hasn't done that in 9 years. 27 straight losses to a top 25 team. Like, you win a game like that, that's something fans are going to remember. That's sort of another mile marker for this program as it's trying to get back. So really important in a lot of ways.
Evan Bland with us here from the Omaha World Herald. And Evan, as we finish this talk about Michigan here, it's kind of the common knowledge, and I'm not sure if it's true or not, we'll find out on Saturday, that Michigan holds the advantage with their offensive line and with Bryce Underwood in their backs, that Michigan will be able to run the football. To what extent, we don't know, but that's where they hold the advantage against Nebraska. To flip it around, previewing this game, where do you think Nebraska holds an advantage against Michigan?
I think they can hold the advantage in the passing game. I think you got to believe in what Dylan Raiola has done and that skill position group has done. Nebraska running the ball, we'll see. Emmett Johnson's shown flashes. I do think that offensive line is as good as Nebraska's had in a number of years. So how does that hold up against a pretty strong Michigan front line? Like, that's always been a group that's been good for them. But I do think, this is a game where you can turn to Raiola and some of that arm strength and Dane Key and Isaiah Hunter and Ja'Cory Barney. Like, this is a game where you need those guys to be playmakers, and they have been to this point. So I think you feel good about that. I think you feel good about the secondary for Nebraska against the true freshman in Underwood. Like, that's just been a group that's obviously really solid, haven't given up 100 passing yards in a game yet this year. And then special teams, I think potentially could be as well. That's always been an area, especially in the Big Ten, where Nebraska's kind of been deficient, but maybe that's flipped as well. And that can be an area where you can win the fielding position battle or flip it with a big return or something like that. So I'm not giving up on that being a potential game swinger either.
Evan Bland with us here from the Omaha World Herald. And Evan, before we get you out, I do need to get your reaction to Nate Borkacher, the game-winning touchdown for Texas A&M. A&M, that they weren't favored in that football game. I think it really derails Notre Dame's season, but a big moment for the former Husker.
Yeah, wasn't that cool? It seems like, there's a big game every week where a former Husker is involved, and that's just kind of life in the portal era. But what a cool moment for the kid from Aurora, Nebraska, who goes up on 4th and 11 and reels in the ball that either wins or loses the game among two top 25 teams in South Bend. So really cool moment for him. And you think back to him at Nebraska, he played behind Thomas Fidone for much of his career, and A&M saw something in him to, entice him financially to head down there and be the guy. And he hadn't really broken out much through their, I think, first couple of games, but certainly you make a catch like that and you're going to be a fan favorite. That's going to get you a lot of leash, a lot of leeway moving forward. So cool deal for him. And we'll see kind of where their season goes, but he's suddenly going to be a big part of it. And I think people will be, Nebraska fans have already been watching A&M for different reasons. And now maybe Borkacher gives them another one.
Evan Bland with us here from the Omaha World Herald. Find him, follow his work on Twitter at Evan Bland OWH. And Evan, what are you going to be working on this week? What can the folks expect from you?
Yeah, I'll be down at the press conference here in a little bit. Rule's going to be chatting about the week and going to have a piece kind of diving a little bit more into that top 25 drought that they're in and kind of what that would mean to flip that around. And then a couple other things this week. One about a certain former Husker who's with Michigan right now. People might recall him. And then a piece about the quarterback competition this weekend too. A couple former 5-stars going at it. So lots going on. Should be a ton of fun.
Evan Bland with us. Evan, I'll get caught up with you Wednesday afternoon with the Average Joe Sports Show, and we'll get caught up with you here on the Morning Hookup next Monday. Get your reaction to Nebraska and Michigan. Have a good week. Appreciate your time here this morning.
Appreciate you guys. See ya.
There is Evan Bland with the Omaha World Herald. I said it a second ago. I'll say it again. Make sure you find him and follow all his work on Twitter/X at Evan Bland. OWH is where you find all of his work. We're going to step aside here, another 3-minute break. And when we return, we'll get a quick preview of Monday Night Football along with maybe some stories that we missed. That's all coming your way on the Morning Hookup right here on KFOR.
Speaking of college football, Virginia Tech. Let's see the score against Old Dominion.
Which combined, so South Carolina combined what they did against Vandy and what they did against Virginia Tech. Are they the most overrated team in America?
Yeah.
They struggled for 3 quarters with Virginia Tech, got smoked by Vanderbilt. And that Virginia Tech team looks not good.
At all.
At all.
UCLA.
They're just bad. And the thing is about firing Deshaun Foster, maybe we'll get back into this. Where did they go?
Yeah.
What do you do? Tony White? You make that phone call? Why would I don't think Tony White would. That's not the head coaching gig I'd leave for. I know they're in the Big Ten, but still UCLA. I don't know what you do if you're UCLA.
I don't know if it's true or not, but like their athletic department is just super far. Like they're super far in debt or something. They've spent money incorrectly. It's just a dumpster fire out there right now. I mean,
Well,
they should have known from his opening press conference. Like, what are we doing?
As you look across college football, Nico's part of it. Arch Manning, we haven't talked about that today. He looks bad. He looks hurt.
He's not healthy.
He looks injured. DJ Lagway does not look ready to be a high-level college quarterback. He's kind of similar to Childs, where whenever he is playing smart and playing within himself, he looks really solid. Whenever the load of the offense is on his shoulders, you get really worried about him. I mean, this Saturday, it's a chance for Dylan Raiola to put the college football world on notice as him being a top 5 quarterback in the sport, which based on his play through the first 3 games, I know it's not great competition. He's looked like a top 5 quarterback in college football.
I 100% agree.
This Saturday is his chance to go show the college football world, hey, all that disrespect that you showed me whenever I decommitted from Ohio State and Georgia, went to Nebraska, the disrespect last year, all the Mahomes comparisons, people disrespecting him in that, it's his chance for him to turn all that disrespect and turn it into respect. One good game against Michigan puts the college football world on notice. I'm not sure if you saw this. His Heisman odds have gone from plus 10,000 to plus 3,500.
I'm holding the ticket.
At plus 10? Or where are you at?
I think I have plus
8 or well, preseason he wasn't plus 10.
I got it on Bovada, so the odds are probably like super. What did I get? Plus 5,000.
That's not bad though.
I think I have like $5 on it. But...
My best bet ever. I got Nikola Jokic at plus 1,200 to win MVP one time. Wow, that was fun. Made $1,200. Blew it all within like a month.
Ashton Genty, Doak Walker last year.
Rolling through a Monday edition of the Morning Hookup. One final segment here for your Monday. You know I love me some Alice in Chains. Great song choice, great rejoin. Brings the energy with what we need here in one final segment. We spent some time during the break talking about Dylan Raiola and the opportunity he has this weekend. If you want that full conversation, again, you got to check out the Morning Hookup on YouTube or on KFOR's social media pages. Get all the behind-the-scenes conversation we had. What I said was that this game on Saturday for Dylan Raiola is a chance to put the college football world on notice. He's been playing like a top 5 quarterback in college football so far this season. Is the competition been there? No, not necessarily. But he's got a chance against Michigan to show the college football world that, hey, all that disrespect, everything you've said about me through my first 15 games as Nebraska quarterback, 16 now. It was all disrespect. Put some respect on my name. That's what Dylan Raiola can do this weekend. Speaking of respect, look at the NFL slate tonight. I think you have 2 teams. They're both undefeated. But the Chargers and the Raiders, I think with the Chiefs being 0-2, the Broncos, unfortunately for me, being at 1-1, the Chargers and the Raiders have a chance to put the NFL world on notice and say, hey, we're coming for that AFC West crown this year. Unfortunately, that's the 9 p.m. kick. Tampa Bay at Houston is fine. I think that's one of those games that will probably be good, but I'm not as excited about it as I am for Chargers and Raiders.
Yeah, it's a really good matchup. It's a really good coaching matchup. Harbaugh versus Pete Carroll, and then just on both sides of the ball, I think for both teams, there's so many different pieces. I don't know who has the advantage. I really don't. Could you tell me who you like in these games, or in this game in particular? Because I don't know.
Probably the Chargers, but the Raiders with Geno Smith, they wouldn't surprise me. That's the thing. Is I'd probably looking at it. The line is
3.5.
Chargers by 3.5. That line feels about right to me, despite the fact that it's in Vegas. I would not be surprised at all to see Vegas win it at home.
No, me either.
I like Geno Smith. Ashton Genty, I think, is going to settle in. He showed some flashes, despite the fact that the stats aren't going to jump off the page for Genty for you. He had flashes of a guy that turned nothing into something, like what should have been a 3-yard loss for a 3-yard gain. That is something in the NFL, despite the fact it's not the 100-yard 2-touchdown game that you'd like to see from him. Geno Smith, I think they have an upgrade at quarterback. They have arguably the best tight end in the NFL in Brock Bowers. There's talent there. Pete Carroll is a great head coach. I wouldn't be surprised to see Vegas come out with a win. That being said, Justin Herbert and the Chargers, Marion Hampton, I think, is also going to be a guy that settles in as the season goes on. Harbaugh's a great coach. That is a fun game, and I wish it wasn't going to end at midnight.
Do you have the lineup? What's the total in this game? Because
it is 46.5.
I like the under. I think this is a game where both teams line up under center and they run the ball a lot. I don't see a lot of deep shots down the field or big splash plays, big shot plays. This game's going to be won in the trenches. It's going to be a dogfight, and I think it's going to be something like 21-20, something like that.
How do you feel about Tampa Bay at Houston? Tampa. I mean, Emeka Egbuka kind of put the NFL world on notice last week. He may have been a guy who fell too far in the draft. His issue at Ohio State was just that a generational wide receiver, and I maybe throw that term around too loosely. What Jeremiah Smith has shown early in his college football career is that dude is going to be a mainstay in the NFL for a long time. He is special.
I don't think it's crazy to call him generational.
Well, we said the same about Marvin Harrison Jr., and Marvin Harrison Jr. has yet to put that all together in the NFL. The NFL is a different beast than college football. So that's why I don't want to throw the term generational around. He looks like he has all the makings to be a generational wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Egbuka fell because some freshman stepped in and was getting the lion's share of the targets at Ohio State. Egbuka was just a solid option. But now he goes off to the NFL and he looks like he's going to be special for a while. Am I making an overreaction through one game? Probably. But that receiving core, Mike Evans, Egbuka, and Godwin's going to come back at some point this season. That Tampa Bay team looks like it could be special. As for Houston, they did not look special last week. CJ Stroud, after that rookie season, has not lived up to, I mean, there were super high expectations after that. I think he made the Pro Bowl his freshman season. He hasn't quite lived up to it. Receiving core, he's got Nico Collins. Christian Kirk remains hurt, and then it's young guys. It's
Jaden Higgins
and Noel.
Xavier Hutchinson. Yeah, Dalton Schultz. It's see, that's why this line's a little surprising to me. With all of what you just said, why are the Texans favored by 2.5?
I like Tampa in the spot.
It makes football sense exactly why, but then you look at the line and does it feel too easy to get 2.5 points with Tampa? I don't know.
Anytime I see a line like that where it doesn't feel right, I go, there's a reason the buildings in Vegas are so big.
Exactly. 100%.
Like that Oregon Northwestern game. I thought that was a horrible line.
Mm-hmm.
They had a lot of action coming in on Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason those buildings in Vegas are so big. Northwestern with the backdoor cover at home.
A little bit lucky, but I mean, Northwestern was like, Vegas knows what they're doing. That game was right around the number the entire game, and like we said, Northwestern had the backdoor cover. That's why I feel like in this one, I think Houston gets right at home. I really do.
Everything in my head is telling me this feels like such a good spot for Tampa, but then I go, Vegas tends to know though.
Yeah, I mean, Houston's defense, in my opinion, really didn't play that bad against the Rams on the road last week. Stroud had an okay game. 19 for 27, 188 yards, threw a pick. They had a chance to go and win that game. Tampa, they have some offensive line issues right now. They were unable to run the ball against Atlanta last week. Still almost squeaked out a win. It feels like these teams, like I feel like it should be more like a pick 'em, and they're making Houston closer to 2.5, 3. So just reading the line off of that, I would go with Houston, but I think it should just be a good game in general. It really could go both ways.
Last point,
both games could go both ways.
Last point I'll make in this conversation. We probably got about 60 seconds left here.
Yeah.
Is thank God I will take a Monday night doubleheader over a Thursday night game any week.
Mm-hmm.
I am done with Thursday night football. Is it nice to have football on Thursday night? Sure. The problem is whenever you have NFL teams on short rest and short preparation time, it does not tend to lead to a good product. This Thursday, you know what it is this Thursday?
Buffalo and Miami. Buffalo's going to win by 40.
Buffalo is a 13.5 point favorite. That might not be enough points. Miami is reeling. They are spiraling. They might be in contention. This is probably an overreaction, but they might be in contention for a top 5 pick this year. Preseason, that game looked a lot better than it does right now.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a Monday night doubleheader and fire the Thursday night football game into the sun for all I care.
I agree.
Monday night doubleheaders are fun. You get good football. It's just a full night of NFL. I love it. So that's what I'll say. Enjoy a Monday night doubleheader while we have it, because I think these are always fun. And you actually should be able to see most. It's 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock tonight, so you should be able to see most. So enjoy your Monday night football action. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. with the Morning Hookup.